Hey guys, welcome back. We are in our new study on the book of Kings, 1st and 2nd Kings, and we jump into some real drama on the very second day. So listen on in today.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
Hey friends, welcome back. 1 Kings chapter 1 today, and we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it doesn't take us long in our study to get to the bad and the ugly, because in 1 Kings chapter 1, we have an aging David. David is old and he's cold. Sounds like me, old and cold. And what's happening in this time of decay is there are opportunists that are trying to take advantage of what they perceive to be a weakened situation. And it's full of drama. If you don't think that there's drama in the Bible, you just haven't read it. So look at 1 Kings chapter 1 and verse 5, where the Bible says, "Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith." And so many times in the Bible, you'll see a king named by his mother. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, because oftentimes there were multiple wives, so they were distinguished by which wife they were a son of. But another reason is because the mother of the king had a position of great authority in those days, the queen mother. So there's a reason why kings are called after their mother's names in situations, and certainly that's one here. So Adonijah is a son of David. We already know that David has a really checkered family history, much of it due to his own sin with Bathsheba and how he covered that up, and the consequence of his sin that Nathan had pronounced in 2 Kings chapter 12 was that his family would have all kinds of issues. And we have seen that. David had issues. His son Amnon, remember, and his rape of his sister Tamar, who was the full sister of Absalom, who avenged his sister's violation by killing Amnon and then leaving the country and then ultimately being restored. But there was a rift between him and David insofar that Absalom wrested control of the country itself and took over in a coup, and then fought against his own dad, David, and David defeated that coup. But just all these sordid, dramatic things that are happening. And now, as David is on his deathbed, or at least that's the perception, Adonijah, the ultimate opportunist, looks at this as an opportunity to declare himself to be the king. And it says in verse number 5, he says, "I will be the king." And he prepared him chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. So he's kind of holding his own press conference here. And his father had not displeased him at any time in saying, "Why hast thou done so?" And he also was a very goodly man, and his mother bare him after Absalom. So, he is the brother of Absalom. His dad had never really discouraged him from being ambitious. And this is a theme that we see about David in these latter years, is that David refuses to have hard conversations with his proud sons, whether that be Amnon, "I want what I want," or Absalom, "I want what I want," or Adonijah, "I want what I want." David just didn't restrain his boys. This reminds me of Eli, years before, that did not restrain his sons, or Samuel, who did not restrain his sons. So here are great leaders that have an issue with leading in their own homes. And I can't help but think about 1 Timothy chapter 3, where there it talks about leadership in the local church and how a very good criterion for assessing a potential leader in the local church is one that ruleth well his own household. And unfortunately, David here, although he was a great warrior, although he was a great king in the sense of defeating the enemy and establishing a united kingdom, David just had some issues with raising his own kids. Now, he did a great job with Solomon, and we read all kinds of great things about how David prepared him. But when it comes to these other sons, David does not get a good score. Verse 7, he conferred, now this is Adonijah, he conferred with Joab, the son of Zeruiah. Joab is David's, let me see, so Joab's mom, so they're cousins. So Joab's mom is one of the, a nephew, I guess. So Joab's, let me see, yeah, would that be right? Pardon me while I think this through. Yes, I think Zeruiah is a sister of David's, and so that would make Joab the nephew of David. There we go. And it says here that Joab, the son of Zeruiah, with Abiathar the priest, and they followed Adonijah, helped him. So what is Adonijah doing? Adonijah is getting all of the various elements in place. So I'm going to be the king. Joab is going to be my military commander, and Abiathar is going to be the priest. So he's trying to establish all the branches of government, if you will. Now, what's interesting is Joab, for years, served David as his chief military commander. But remember, after the rebellion of Absalom, that David actually named Joab's cousin, a man by the name of Amasa, to be the ruler. And that never settled well with Joab. And Joab actually killed Amasa, executed him. He went to hug him and then stabbed him with the other hand. I mean, really, really brutal. And so here's Joab, who has been miffed by David overlooking him, and he's more than willing to join in this coup with Adonijah. And it says in verse number 8, but Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada and Nathan the prophet and Shimei and Ray and all the mighty men which belonged to David were not with Adonijah. So notably, the Bible teaches that Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, the same Nathan that rebuked David, and Benaiah, one of David's mighty men, they were not with this coup, this Adonijah-led, I'm going to be the next king campaign. And what's important there is you have a priest, Zadok, you have a military commander, Benaiah, you have a prophet who is Nathan, and you're going to have a king who is Solomon. So we see a prophet, a priest, and a king all assembled on the right side. And that reminds me of Jesus, who is the prophet, the priest, and the king all together. And he's always on the right side. It says in verse 9, and Adonijah slew sheep and oxen and fat cattle by the stone of Zoheleth, which is by Enrogel, and called all his brethren, the king's sons. So David had multiple wives and concubines, not as many as Solomon, but more than he should have. And all the men of Judah, the king's servants. So Adonijah is doing this big. He's having this big press conference. He's bringing in all the notable people. He has all these political endorsements. It sounds a lot like a political campaign today. I mean, Adonijah is looking to be the populist choice among the people of the nation. And he has carefully crafted this campaign so that it's obvious that he is the one that should be endorsed and he's the only one that should be considered. And he looks the part. I mean, he looks like a king. He's got the credentials. It looks like a shoe-in. And it says in verse 10, but Nathan the prophet and Benaiah and the mighty men and Solomon his brother he called not. Now, is that not interesting? That Adonijah knew who to call. He knew the ones that would be leaning toward a rebellion or leaning toward him. And he also knew the ones that would be loyal to David. That's interesting. In any deceptive plan, it's interesting how deceivers know who other deceivers are. Birds of a feather flock together. And deceivers also know those who cannot be bought, who cannot be bribed, who cannot be talked into this. So here we see the lines drawn, and it seems as if the majority of people are siding with this interloper named Adonijah. And it seems as if the minority of people are siding with an aging, decrepit David and the youngest brother, really, Solomon. So for all intents and purposes, if you just look at popularity, you look at endorsements, you look at the number of people, it seems as if Adonijah has a huge lead in this contest. It looks like, hey, voting day is coming, second Tuesday in November, and it doesn't look good. It does not look good for Solomon. And yet, the Bible says in verse number 11, wherefore Nathan spake unto Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. Now, is that not ironic? Because wasn't it Nathan whom God sent to David and to David after the sin with Bathsheba, after David had hidden that sin, had swept it under the rug? Was it not Nathan that said, thou art the man? Wasn't it Bathsheba who lost that child? That child, having been born, died in that first week of life. So you wouldn't think that Nathan would have a connection with David and Bathsheba, and yet he does. He's faithful. And in spite of that sin that David repented of, famously, Psalm 51, here's Nathan that has a restored relationship with David and Bathsheba. And here's David and Bathsheba, a faithful couple who have raised children now. They've had 4 sons, one of whom is Solomon. And here they are together raising him. And David's an old man. And Nathan goes to Bathsheba and he says, hast thou not heard that Adonijah, the son of Haggith, doth reign? Boy, he's already declared himself to be the leader. And David, our Lord, knoweth it not. David has to know this. If David knew about this, then this would not be happening. And so we have to find a way to get David to know this. And what's very interesting about Nathan is Nathan knows David. And Nathan's looking for a way by which to share this information in the most powerful way with David. It reminds me of 2 Samuel 12, where Nathan is looking for a way to share negative information with David, and he tells that story about the shepherd and the sheep. Nathan just has a great way of knowing how to approach a negative situation, how to share very difficult information. We could learn from that. And it says in verse 12, now therefore come, Nathan speaking to Bathsheba, let me, I pray thee, give thee counsel, that thou mayest save thine own life and the life of thy son Solomon. Bathsheba, understand that if this continues, if this momentum for Adonijah and this declaration, self-declaration of kingship, if this goes on unchallenged, then understand that he's going to get rid of you. He's going to get rid of Solomon. So your life and the life of your son are on the line. Go, get thee in unto King David. Say to him, didst not thou, my lord, O king, swear unto thine handmaid, saying, assuredly Solomon, thy son, shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? Why then doth Adonijah reign? So, Bathsheba, you've got to get in there to David's death bedroom, and you've got to tell him what's going on. You've got to give him this bad news and remind him that this was not his choice, that he chose to have Solomon be the next king. Behold, while thou yet talkest there with the king, I also will come in after thee and confirm thy words. So in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. So what does Nathan say? Nathan says, you go tell him, you have a good way with him, remind him And then I will go in and I will confirm so that David knows that this is true, this is serious, and this must be dealt with immediately. Now, what happens? Well, I'm not going to tell you not to read ahead because you can read ahead if you want to, and many of you know the story, but we're going to stop right there. We'll come back to verse number 15 next episode, and wow, what a dramatic way that this story unfolds. But you'll have to wait until next episode to hear about it. Until then, have a great day in the Lord. God bless you, my friends.